Yo, this is Prodaj Productions. It's been a while since I've been on here, and this video is just showcasing a new piece of gear that I've gotten and letting y'all know that even though gear is important, it's really your ear and what you do with that gear. You can spend a lot of money on this high-end gear and get crappy sound, and you can spend very little money and get really good sound. It's really how you use it and how you use your ear. With that being said, I'm going to show you all the Behringer Studio XL controller. I'm not going to go into the mumbo jumbo. You always hear it. I wasn't going to do an unboxing. As you see, I got it from Sweetwater. They always hook me up. You know, it comes with the manual. This is the power cable. Comes with the other part of the power cable, a USB, and this is actually for the stereo input right here. Go ahead and focus right there. This is for the stereo input. If you have a lot of the newer phones, you're gonna have to get the adapter for those. They go from 1/8 inch to either USB-C or Lightning for iPhone. You can see all of this online. Problem is they don't have a lot of pictures that show you up close, and that's why I'm doing this. So this is direct monitoring of the headphones. It's actually two headphones, so this is the input and the cue from the computer. Sometimes they'll say, like for instance on this DAW, it doesn't say cue, but it says input to DAW. It's the same thing, input to cue. The cue is the DAW, so that's what that is. These are the two headphones right here. And then these are what you're actually listening to, whether it's the 2-track or the cue, aka the DAW, the mono, the mute, dim, talkback, which you can have the built-in talkback, which the mic's right there for the built-in talkback, or you can plug it into the back. There's actually a XLR for that. And you have a volume for that, and then what you want to talk back to right here. This will show you if your powers are on, your USB. These are your three different monitors, which is why I chose this instead of the L, because the L only has 2 monitor outs. I like to use 2 separate monitors, and then this one's going to be my sub out, because I actually have an independent sub amp right there. So here's the back. Like I said, you have your 1 and 2, your left and right, that are combi jacks, so you can use XLR or 1/4 inch. These are only 1/4 inch. The input 3 and 4, 5 and 6, which are for, you know, piano, guitar, whatever you want to use them for, that kind of thing. An aux mix in, which is where it showed you earlier the type of cue you want to use. I'm going to use USB, so whatever comes back to me. But this may be good if you're in an analog studio and you're coming back, instead of going through the USB, you can come back a 2-track back into this and then cue it from that way. There's 2-track output, like you can use to go to a analog, and then these are more outs for the headphones, or if you wanted to go to a different studio, these are 2-track out, which this I believe goes to, yeah, that studio out right there. So these are the headphones, this is the studio out, so that's going to go to this one. And then these are, like I said, monitor A, B, and C. A and B I use for my normal speakers, B I'll use for my sub. And then here's what I was telling you about the external mic. You can use the built-in one, which is right there, or you can use the external. And the foot switch will enable it or disable it if you have a foot switch. If not, you use the button right there to enable when you're talking. So if you do cue, then it'll go straight to whoever's, like if you're using a DAW, the cue, if you're set it to USB, it should send the talkback into their headphones. And then these are the recording sources, power, all that fun stuff. back to the front because there was one thing I forgot to mention about the 1 and 2. It's a really cool feature. So like I said, these are the ones that I'm going to be using the most for myself or for others. There's the phantom power, which the other one didn't have. And then right here, you would enable 1 and 2, but this. So if you hit this button, it will use these in tandem as stereo. If you don't, like I'm going to do a lot of vocal stuff and I'm going to have it mono, I'm going to want this up. That way I don't need both of them. I just need one of them. But yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool feature, pretty cool. So. I'm going to plug it here in a minute and test it out. So currently this is what I'm using. And I'm going to disconnect this bad boy and connect this bad boy. Alright. As you can see, there is a difference in size. That is one thing. It's double the width. Yeah. Try and give you a good size comparison, but yeah. But it is a controller, so it controls a lot more than just inputs. Just more than just 2 inputs. I have a lot more I/O on this. And it also has a higher bit rate. But I will see how that's going to translate into recording and see if the quality is at least the same par, because I know with the price range sometimes you lose quality, but you know, it may be a trade-off in what I'm needing. So alright, so as my computer's booting up, you'll see right here, as my computer's booting up, one thing I did notice, I didn't turn this on first, which is actually like a rule of thumb you should do, is turn your computer on, leave your speakers off. So you turn your computer on first, then your audio hardware, then your speakers last. I did it in a little bit weird fashion, and I turned my speakers on before I did anything and heard a crazy buzz, or not buzz, but squeak. But once I turned the computer on and this on, all that went away and it was quiet, which is a good sign, because that means that there's little to no feedback, whether that's analog or digital feedback, or it's keeping the static away from it. So got her all hooked up, you know. Here, got my mic over there, the speaker 1. I don't have my speaker 2 hooked up, but I got my sub USB over there. That's really all I need at the moment. And I ended up moving my sub amp, instead of it being right there, now it's up here. It actually allowed me to free up a couple of these for other things that I might need them for, USBs, or you know, other maybe other keyboards or other instruments that require USB. So yeah, it kind of takes up a lot on this desk, but eventually I'm going to get speaker stands, which will free it up, and then I'll end up moving this back to where that speaker is. And yeah, so let's hear how it sounds. Actually, let me turn it on so y'all can see. Comes on. My sub was already on, so if you heard a thump, that's why it was already on. There's no, y'all don't hear anything. I'm going to turn the speaker on.
Repeat, this is not a drill.
All right. From this spot where I'm sitting, which is roughly arm's length away, I don't hear any hiss, any buzz, any pops. Now, probably if you get close enough, you might hear something, but I don't hear anything. So that's really good. You don't want to hear any of that. The good thing for all you audio heads out there is the outputs for the speakers can be balanced or unbalanced. So you can go to RCA cable, or you can stay straight 1/4 inch TRS, or you can go from 1/4 inch to XLR. It's really up to you. I love that about it, because it gives you so much flexibility. Since this is YouTube, I'm not going to play any copyrighted material. I'll play some of maybe some unreleased beats or something just to hear the sound quality. I'll let y'all listen to it and I'll show y'all what it sounds to me. You know, it is a phone, so it's not going to sound exactly how it should, but the audio quality on this phone is actually really, really good. Picks up the bass pretty good as well. So yeah, got my source, the USB. Everything, this isn't muted, nothing's muted on here. I do need to have that on, I'm gonna put those about halfway. As you can see, both on, power and USB. I think that's all I need for right now. I'm gonna test it real quick. Okay, so I'm gonna show y'all something very important. Watch. So these are actually gain controls, and it doesn't go to negative infinity to whatever. I have it at negative 12. I have this not even halfway. On the back of the speakers, they're about halfway, and it's still really loud. So you have a lot of power coming out of this thing. Honestly, if I turned it all the way to max, I would probably blow these speakers at half or pop something. I could probably turn my speakers down to a quarter and I'll still have enough power to push these with enough oomph. And the good thing about this is my sub before, this amp does push a little bit out, but I can probably crank this to give my sub just a little bit more kick than it normally has. But yeah, this definitely has enough power. I'm going to play it for you. I'm going to do a little test. And that's at half. If I go any higher than that, it gets loud quick. So, just showing y'all, it gets loud. That's me messing with this, that's me messing with the gain, not with the actual speaker. But see, as you can tell, I can mess with the sub, that's a sub. So I have a lot of control on here. Instead of having to mess with this every time, I can leave this right there and I can adjust how much of my sub I want to hear. Or let's say I don't want to hear my sub at all. Just turn it off. Vice versa. And then there's the main control. Yeah. Alright, so to me it sounds really good on that end, on the speaker side. I can't have y'all test the headphone side, but I can test it and then get my feedback, which is what I'm going to do now. Really great news. I can actually get rid of my headphone amplifier. I didn't even get to halfway and it was hurting my ears. The other thing is the headphone volume control is independent from the main knob. So you can turn the main knob all the way down, you can turn the speakers off, and your headphones will still play. That's really dope. So, not that I'm trying to sell you on this, but so far, so good. It's everything I needed more. I'm going to do some test runs and do a follow-up video probably in about a week or two, telling y'all really how I like it as far as the recording side and how it does with my workflow. So stay tuned, and I'll have more videos like this as I get different gear, or just talking about the gear that I currently have and kind of tell you how much I spent on it, because I want y'all to see that it doesn't take a lot of money to make good music. So just stay tuned. Prodaj Productions. Peace.